You were born as pure joy, light, love, peace. That's who you are. And so when you have an emotion that's lower vibration, it's really out of alignment with who you are.
Are you lacking in the self-care department? Or maybe you just want to step up your game? Well, then you need to get a hold of the weekly self-care planning guide, because this will help you to plan out and prioritize self-care, because self-care is not a luxury, it is a necessity. You can get yours by going to holisticmamaspeaks.com/self-care. That's holisticmamaspeaks.com/self-care. Oh, and did I mention the self-care planning guide is absolutely free? That's $0. So be sure to get yours at holisticmamaspeaks.com/self-care. Hello and welcome back to Holistic Mama Speaks, the podcast, Season 2. I am your host, Carrie Marie Vaughn, and I'm just so excited to continue our journey together towards holistic living, wellness, and abundance. Wow. In Season 2, we are just going to be diving deeper into a variety of different topics related to natural health, mindful living, wealth and abundance, and even conscious parenting. I'm just so excited. And I will be featuring expert guests who will share their knowledge and experience with us. So many amazing people, some returning guests from Season 1 and some new guests. I will also be answering listener questions and addressing some common concerns related to holistic living. And you can actually submit your questions by going to holisticmamaspeaks.com/ask. ASK. My goal is to provide you with practical tips and inspiration that you can incorporate into your own life. Whether you are a seasoned holistic living enthusiast like some people, or if you're just starting out on this journey, there is just something for everyone along the way. So I'm just happy to have you here in the Season 2 of Holistic Mama Speaks. And just as a side note, by listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this as medical advice or to treat a medical condition. You can visit holisticmamaspeaks.com to find the full disclaimer. So sit back, relax, and let's explore a world of holistic living and abundance together. Are you a mom who's struggling to balance taking care of loved ones while also taking care of yourself? It's a very common challenge, but there is actually a simple solution: daily affirmations. In Mom Mantras, the daily affirmation guide for mothers of all kinds, you'll find powerful affirmations and mantras that will help you improve your health, happiness, and mindset. Whether you are a biological mom, an adoptive mom, a stepmom, a pet mom, a motherly figure, this book is for you. Read these mantras in the morning, before bed, really anytime throughout the day to uplift your spirits and to stay focused on what matters most. Visit mommantras.com to get your own copy and to start living a more intentional, purposeful life. Hello and welcome back to Holistic Mama Speaks. I am your host, Carrie Marie Vaughn, and I am just so extremely blessed and excited to have my very dear friend, Jennie Potter, joining me today. Jennie is a best-selling author of Self-Sabotage No More, and she was also actually a previous guest on the podcast back in Season 1, Episode 2, I believe, my very first guest. So I'm so excited that you can join me again today, Jennie. Today, we are going to be talking about emotion liberation, coping and releasing with grace. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Carrie. I'm so excited to be here.
I am so excited as well. And this is something that I know that you are very good at, because you have helped me cope with my emotions in the past, and also just kind of helping to release some things instead of letting it linger and hold on into the body. And so I would love for you to just talk a little bit about how you help people with kind of releasing those emotions, because I feel like with moms, especially, we hold things inside. We don't let our own emotions out. We just we have to roll with everything that comes our way and focus on taking care of our families and all of our responsibilities. And we kind of just hold on to our emotions, and that's not good, right? So I'd love for you to chat about that.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. Moms do it. In fact, most adults do it. Moms, dads, and everybody in between. And really, we hold on to emotions. And I'll even talk to you about what an emotion is, because I find it so fascinating. And I think that emotions feel like this non-tangible thing, Carrie, but they're very, very real. And so, again, thank you for having me on here. I'm super excited to share, and just so awesome to see how you're doing and growing, and all of the amazing guests that you've had on your podcast. It's funny, Carrie, because with emotions, we are not taught from a society standpoint, we're not taught how to deal with them. In fact, if anything, most people grow up with almost that emotions are bad, at least the negative ones. And I say negative because emotions are not really negative or positive. What an emotion is an alarm. It's an alert. It's telling you something's going on, something good's going on, something bad's going on. Literally, it's like there's a tripwire and then there's a vibration. And that lets you know, be scared, be careful, be happy, be angry, boundaries crossed, all of these things, right? Mm-hmm. And so really, if we utilized emotions as a guidance scale, as a guide to like, oh, this feels good, this doesn't feel good, this feels right, this doesn't feel right, this is safe, this is not safe. If we used our emotions in that way, if we were taught to understand emotions a little bit differently, it would be really powerful. Some of us are not. So what happens is when we feel a negative emotion, and the negative emotion doesn't feel good, because I always like to say we're born, you, Carrie, if you're listening right now, you were born as pure joy, light, love, peace. That's who you are. And so when you have an emotion that's lower vibration, it's really out of alignment with who you are. So if you have a thought like, I'm ugly, and this is obviously not right at birth, but like as we get older, you maybe, have this thought, you look in the mirror and you think, I'm ugly. And then that feels bad. That feels bad because it's out of alignment with who you are, because who you are is beautiful. When you have that bad feeling, you push it down because you're not allowed to feel it, or you've been taught not to show your emotion, or you've been told to just put a smile on your face. And so you hold back and don't express or notice the alert. Now, a different approach would be, I'm ugly. Oh, that doesn't feel good. I'm beautiful. Oh, that feels better. But instead, we feel the bad feeling. We almost make it mean, like, oh, well, that's true. And then we get into that. We kind of hold on to that feeling. And so when we hold on to the feelings, which are really just vibrations, when we hold on to those feelings, we end up causing a little bit of havoc in what we're broadcasting, and what we're putting out there. So I don't know if you've ever noticed, like, some people, you can just tell that they're angry.
Yeah.
Or like just from the lines in their face, or how they hold their shoulders, or just, their tone. But some people, you can just tell that they're angry, or they're sad, or they're anxious, they're nervous. And so what is that? Well, that's just you understanding vibration. Even though we don't talk about it very much, we very much we're made up of energy, we're made up of a vibration. And so if we've got lots of unprocessed emotions, lots of emotions that we haven't dealt with from childhood or teenage years or even adulthood, what ends up happening is you start broadcasting sad, anxious, unhappy, and there's just a lot of noise. So I'll always say it's a little bit like there's songs playing in the background. So if you if your brother broke the lamp when you were 12 years old and blamed you, and your parents believed him and not you, and you felt like betrayed and angry, and you didn't deal with it because you had no one to talk to about it, well, that vibration is kind of playing this like mad song and betrayal song, like in the background. And so later on in life, I like how you're looking at me right now. You're like, oh.
Don't like that song.
Later in life, that vibration is still, it might be quietly playing in the background, but it's there. So then something happens. Let's say a colleague takes credit for work that you did. Okay. Like they did nothing to contribute, and you did all the work, and they were like, they told the boss is like, you guys did a great job. And they're like, you, right? And inside, the broken lamp emotion just gets lit up like loud. So in a dream world, if we had no unprocessed emotions and we dealt with everything in the moment, you would still feel like, ooh, that doesn't feel good. That colleague just, took, just receive something, but you would deal with it in the moment. You would be neutral about it. Oh, well, maybe like they're just having a rough time, or maybe they feel awkward saying something, or, we'll talk about it later, but you wouldn't have this massive trigger. Mm-hmm. But if you've got the broke lamp situation just quietly sitting in the background, that can get triggered. And that's why when you're at a family dinner and your mom says something that your friend or husband thinks is funny, but you're like, she's or whatever, that's why that happens. It's because we have, like, with our family, it's usually the hardest or the biggest triggers, because half the time they create them. So, or, they're part of the creating of them, right? So part of the experience. So I don't know if that was a very long answer to your question, but essentially those emotions that we don't process get in our everyday way. They get in our way of showing up. So you go to lose some weight, and as soon as you make the decision, you like, okay, I'm going to lose weight starting today. And 4 minutes later, you're ordering pizza and eating out of the ice cream. Like, right? Well, what's going on there? Well, that decision to lose the weight has triggered an old unprocessed emotion around, when you failed at trying a diet, or when you were skinny and got attention you didn't want, or you lost some weight and your best friend was like, oh, I guess you're too good for me now, or whatever, like some kind of memory, old memory. And so oftentimes when we set a goal, that's a really good place to trigger old stuff, and it will get in the way of achieving that goal.
Yeah. That definitely, thank you so much, because that definitely answers the question, and some, because it helps you to really understand what emotions are and how they're working in the body. And it also allows all of us to give ourselves a little grace. Like, okay, we don't really have full control over all this, because there's all of the stuff that's in us, all the stuff that's like trapped inside of us from way long time ago, that's all of a sudden being triggered by things that we are encountering now. And so all of a sudden it can crop up in different ways, and we might react in ways that we don't really want to, or that, like you were saying, we sabotage our efforts to do something. Maybe we want to, be like one of those moms that attend everything, all of this stuff. And then all of a sudden it's like game night and you're like, I am not going. I don't want to go. And you don't know why you're having these thoughts. And there's probably something that's like holding you back. Or, most moms that I know really don't take time for self-care and taking care of themselves. And there's probably reasons why that's cropping up, because of, all of these emotions, or they don't feel worthy of that time to care for themselves. That was something that you helped me with, actually, because I also fell into that where I did not feel worthy of taking the time to care for myself. and it was much needed. And so can we dive in a little bit more on that particular topic? Because I know that that's big with a lot of moms. A lot of people I know really kind of put themselves on the back burner, and there's got to be some emotions around that. I know that there has to be.
Or like, I remember my favorite homework I ever gave anybody was to you, Carrie Marie. That was to go horseback riding.
Yes.
And I remember you were like, ah, like for you to take that time was really like, I remember it, and in my head, I was like, that's not hard homework. Like that was like fun homework, right? But it was so hard because you were so good at putting your needs on the back burner and taking care of everybody else and your job and all the things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, that's really normal. And oftentimes, most of us create beliefs around what's right or wrong, and emotions around things. Before we're 12, we've locked a lot of stuff in. And so, if your parents never came and watched the game, or never took the time out to come and support you, then in your head you're like, if I'm not the kind of mom that shows up, then my kids are going to feel X about me, like I did about my parents. Or maybe your parents showed up to every single thing and never missed anything, but maybe your mom didn't work, and now you're like working full time and trying to show up for everything. And so usually before we're 12, we've created our limiting beliefs around what's right, what's wrong. And really, it's just a belief system in your world. It's not real. Like you've made it real, but it's, your kids probably would be fine if you missed the odd game, or they get it, but you've placed all this heavy weight on it. So yeah, we often have emotions around this kind of stuff. Usually, quite often, it will be an underlying feeling. So guilty all the time is very normal. Thinking everyone's mad at you all the time is very normal. What else? Like this anxious feeling, feeling like you're not enough, feeling like you're not worthy of self-care, but I always say, like, pretend it's your best friend that you're, instead of yourself. If your best friend came to you and said, I'm exhausted, I never have a minute to myself, like everything's hard, what would you say to your best friend? And you'd say, massage, or take an hour and have tea, or 20 minutes breathing in the morning, whatever. You would give your advice. So take your own advice, but it's very hard to do that if you don't feel worthy. Or if you feel guilty, if you feel guilty and you trigger old emotions. So I help mostly women. I work with men as well, but I help women release those unprocessed emotions from the lamp breaking incidences and bigger traumas. Things small and big. It doesn't have to be big, but sometimes those big traumas or occurrences will be the reason why you're procrastinating, or be the reason why you don't keep your word to yourself, or be the reason why you're such a perfectionist, or so hard on yourself, or never give yourself a timeout. Usually there's something underlying there that needs healing. And the good news is that it's very simple to release those emotions. It doesn't have to take years. It doesn't have to take years of talk therapy, or talking about the trauma, or reliving it, or anything like that. There's actually just a few simple actions that you can do to clear old emotion, and it's pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah, and I'm sure that that's a huge relief to all of the listeners. They're like, what? I don't have to work on this for like 10 years, working with a counselor every week and reliving all these things, because I think that so many people think that, if you've had any kind of trauma, or maybe you haven't had any trauma, but all of a sudden, but you're just feeling anxious all the time, or you're depressed or whatever, and you don't even know why. And you're like trying to figure this out. Why am I procrastinating on everything? Or why am I feeling sad or upset or lonely all the time when there's really no reason for it? And they think that they have to spend hours and hours and hours in therapy, when it really is so easy. And I just love your simple techniques, because they're so helpful. And I know that you talk about them in your book, you talk about them in your podcast and your course, and you also, of course, help people one-on-one to go through it even quicker, which is so cool. And so I absolutely love that, because you have helped me in so many ways. And I have to just make a quick note that thank you so much for telling me to go horseback riding, because now it's been years and I'm still horseback riding almost every week. And I am just so happy to have now taken that time for myself. And now I help other people with carving out time for self-care, because I realized how important that was. So it was a trickle effect. You helped me, and now I'm able to help other people. So thank you.
So cool. I mean, it's so cool. It is literally was my favorite homework I ever gave. Because the joy, and then seeing pictures of you, and it's just so cool. But yeah, the good news is you don't have to take years to release this stuff. And most people have around 250 unprocessed emotions, which I talk about in my book, and how you can find out that number. That's your unprocessed emotions score, is what I call it, your UP score. And that, mine was close to 600. And like, I've met people with a couple thousand, but most people around 250.
That's
so you can clear those emotions quite simply just by using a simple process, working one-on-one with me, of course, but like actually in my book, which is like very inexpensive on Amazon, you can learn the process yourself and just and work through it. It took me a few months to clear my own, and just a little, every few days, just clear a few more until I was clear. So what you'll find if you clear those emotions, that unprocessed stuff, you'll find that you're more in flow. I found that I hear God more clearly. You'll be able to manifest more easily. So when you speak out what you want, you can step into that more quickly. You'll notice like, oh, that happened quickly. Or you make a decision to create a course, or to meet someone, or to make extra money, or whatever it is. And those opportunities will fall in your lap more easily, purely for the reason that there's less noise. There's just less noise. There's less, you're clearing away all those songs that are playing different, lower vibration stuff. And as you step more fully into your divine purpose and your divine identity and who you are, you'll just attract what you need for the mission. So whether that's just in the moment, mission might be just be an awesome mom, might be have an awesome career, might be a combination of whatever. But yeah, it's easier when you can relieve some of the noise. Kind of like when you got a fan going in the background and someone turns it off and you didn't know it was on, but it was kind of bugging you. And then it goes off and you're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. That it's so much nicer. That's a little bit like what it feels like. Most people who go through this process will feel lighter, happier, more in connection with who they are and their purpose, and less triggered.
That's so helpful, because I mean, I know as a mom, especially when my kids were little, I felt like I was very triggered. So it would be fun and I would be pretty patient for a little bit, and then all of a sudden I would snap. It's like, watch out.
Yeah. Our we have puppies, and I don't think I could have had puppies before I did this process. Like it would have been tough. Like, um, it's just a different experience. You'll feel more neutral when someone does something you don't like, instead of it triggering you or making you feel really irritated or sad or angry or hurt or defensive. Instead of that, you'll feel like, oh, they're having a hard day. You'll be able to separate it. This isn't about me. This is about you. And that's the biggest piece, is that separation.
Yeah. I've even noticed it seems so minuscule, but since I've released emotions, all of a sudden now being stuck in traffic doesn't bother me. It seems so tiny and so simple, especially because I don't drive that often anyway. I work from home, thank goodness. So I don't have to deal with traffic very often. But even on the times that I do, it used to drive me nuts. I'm like, what are these people doing? or like crazy drivers. And now I literally have learned to, I don't even know. It does not trigger me anymore. And I'm just like,
Because you're more present.
going on. There's no need for a rush. We'll get there when we get there, kind of thing. There must be a reason for this. It's okay if I'm late. There's all of these things that are going through my brain, and I'm even helping the others in the car to understand this because they're all triggered. They need to release some emotions.
Yeah, but you know what's so funny is that piece is like trying to explain to everyone in the car is like, it's harder than it sounds. They're like, okay, what activity? Like, we want to get there or whatever. But yeah, it's so cool. It's such a simple thing.
Mm-hmm.
But so powerful for life. And they should be teaching it at school.
Oh, they absolutely should. How amazing would that be if every child learns when they're itty bitty, when they first start school and start interacting with other people and everything like that, just how to handle your emotions and how to release
How to
them.
clear them, how to not judge them, how to be curious about them, how to be aware. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
Yeah.
would be absolutely amazing. But the cool thing is all of us now are learning all of this and we can share it with the moms that we know, we can share it with the teachers that we know, and even if it's not in the curriculum for every single child on earth to learn how to do, the little bit that we can help others is going to be very amazing and very impactful, but also us as moms to be able to release all of that. Then we can handle different situations as they arise with our children, with our spouses, with things that just pop up with traffic. and it doesn't seem to be such a big deal, and we're more at peace and being the true people that we were meant to be. Like you were saying in the beginning, we're all meant to be joy and love and light, and we're not able to be that when we have all of that static of those awful noises, those sounds of those emotions that are stuck there, the bad vibrations. And so, and I'm pretty sure that I'm saying that incorrectly. They're probably not bad, but they're just lower vibration.
Yeah. It's lower vibration, it's just slower moving, just like the desk is very low vibration and heavy, and it's still energy. It is a vibration, but it's heavy, and so it's not really a bad thing. It's just more solid. So I always say that if you've been kind of moving through life towards goals and it feels like you're chest deep in water and you've got weights on your ankles and you're still making progress, but you're moving like slower, or it seems hard, or everything feels hard, when you release these emotions and the vibration of like limiting beliefs, which I call sabotage beliefs, it just gets easier. It feels like you move into more shallow water. It feels like you move up onto the beach or even up onto the sidewalk. And so that's what we're all working towards, is that flow. And some people just don't even understand that life can be full of flow and ease and joy, because they've been in the vibration of hardship for so long.
Yeah. Well, I hope that this will serve as a reminder for everyone that there is some hope and there is ways of releasing these things that are holding you back. And I would love for you to just share really quick a little bit about your alarm method. I know that you shared about it in more detail in your book and your podcast and also in the previous episode when you joined us, but I think that that's really important for people to know that there is such a simple method of releasing emotions.
I do have a free PDF download for the alarm method at jenniepotter.com. But just in a very snippet, because I want to respect your time, but I just, the smallest, the simplest way is when you feel an emotion. The first step is awareness, which is the A in alarm, the alarm method. Is for awareness. So just being aware that you're having a feeling, which sounds pretty simple, but actually there's a lot of people there that are feeling feelings that, they just, they aren't even fully aware that they're angry all the time or guilty all the time or whatever it is. And so awareness. And then the next step is location. So where are you feeling it in your body? So you have your awareness and then you have your location, and the location on your body really is important. And I share, I remember when I was in counseling school, because my background's in counseling, I had a mentor say to me, Jennie, when you feel angry, because I knew I had repressed anger, but I didn't know how to deal with it. In fact, I didn't deal with it in counseling school. I dealt with it when I learned this method. But she said, just welcome it and just welcome the anger. And I was like, are you crazy? I spent my whole life trying to resist anger. I don't want to be anger. I don't like anger. I don't want to be around anger. And so what I love about the location piece of this is, so awareness, I'm angry. Location, ooh, it's in my tummy. Okay, well now you can actually, when we get to that step, you can allow it and release it. And so awareness, location. The next step is ask the question. And this is if you want to release the lamp situations, right? You want to release the old stuff that happened. So this is, you ask the question, when have I felt this before? So if someone really upsets you at work, when have I felt this before? You might remember something a year ago, but more likely you'll remember something in high school or, so if you're procrastinating, when have I felt this before? And then you remember this weird time when you ran for student council and you thought you were going to win, but you didn't win. Okay, you remember that? Don't be like, oh, that's weird. Why am I thinking of that? That is the trigger point. That is the memory. That's the thing that's causing you to procrastinate, because every time you're going for your goals, you're running for your dreams, your body gets triggered and said, last time we ran for something, it really hurt. We got our feelings hurt. I don't want to run. So conscious mind's like, let's go get this. Subconscious is like, dude, the last time we ran, we got hurt. So you can ask that question. If you don't have a specific memory that comes up, totally cool. Don't worry about it. Just go to the next step. And the next step is that relax. It's that R, it's that reset. It's the relax. It's the release. And so, in this step, this is the allowing part. This is where you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth into that. Let's say you felt it in your tummy. You breathe, you relax that area of your body, and you do what I call my unpacking method. It's just a movement. It's just shoulder to wrist, like you're clearing cobwebs, shoulder to wrist, with the intention, I release this anger, I release this anger, I release this anger. So the R is kind of the biggest step in all of this, the awareness, the location, the ask the question, and then you get to that kind of release. And that's all around the welcoming and the letting go. Because what we resist persists, and when we resist a feeling, we hang on to it by accident. And so all those years ago, if my counselor mentor had said to me to welcome anger, I just had to note where I felt it in my body. and then relax that area of my body, I would have released more easily. So that's the unpacking movement. And then M is for mantra. So replace it. You've just cleared out anger. What do you want to feel? I want to feel calm. I want to feel at peace. Okay. So you do the same movement, but you think of it as packing. Just like packing and unpacking are very similar movements if you're packing a suitcase or whatever. In the same way, we're going to unpack that anger and then we're going to pack in calm. And so same action, shoulder to wrist, shoulder to wrist, shoulder to wrist, with the intention that we're packing in calm or peace or whatever you choose, joy, whatever you choose, you can fill your space with. So that's a very brief version of the alarm method. You could do this at any time. You can skip the ask a question if you just want to clear the emotion in the moment, but the ask a question will help you identify old stuff that's causing the trigger that you can help clear. And just be curious about the memory. Don't judge it or anything like that, but just be curious. So that's it in a nutshell, Carrie Marie. I just said so much so fast, but I love talking about it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And I can tell your passion for it. And I love that how beneficial it is. How much it's helped you, how much it's helped so many other people. And I know it's helped me. And so I'm just so grateful for you for being on today and sharing this with all of the listeners, because I think it's very, very helpful. And I do suggest that everybody get Jennie's book, Self-Sabotage No More. And actually, I think the first time you were on, it had not yet been released yet. So I'm excited to chat about it on here. And in that way too, everybody can find out what their score is, so that as you are releasing these things, you'll know, I'm knocking some things up.
Yeah, the most exciting thing is getting that score to 0. When we get the score to 0, either with clients or when people will message me, that they're reading my book and they know what their score is, and then they message me like 0. It's just so exciting. So yeah, it's a cool way to see your progress, but you'll feel your progress as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much, Jennie. I'm so excited for you to be on here. And you already mentioned your website, jenniepotter.com, which I'm assuming they can find out about everything on there, correct? Everything.
So that's Jennie, JENNIE Potter, POTTER @.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I will definitely make sure to link that on the website so everybody can go right there. They can contact you. They can reach out to you through social media. And hopefully this will be able to really, really help them show up in a more powerful way and live into their true divine purpose, because they're meant for so much more. They're meant to be living in joy. So thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie Marie.
Have an amazing rest of your day.
Thank you. You as well.
Thanks. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. It has been a pleasure being with you today. I hope that you enjoyed this and got some value out of it. If you did, be sure to rate and review on wherever you're listening or watching. And also be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.